Super. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Erin Mcgrath, Assistant Director of College Access and PK-12 Outreach at the State Council of Higher Education for Virginia, or SHEV. I'm very happy to be here with a panel of admissions experts this evening to talk to you about the next steps for the class of 2021. A very brief background before we get started. SHEV and our partners, ECMC, VACRO, and VASFA, partner on the 1-2-3 Go initiative, Virginia's 3 Steps to College. We've made it through the first 3 steps so far, College Nights in Virginia, Virginia College Application Week, and Super Fafsa project. And now we're in the decision-making phase. In Virginia, we celebrate Decision Day VA on or about May 1st every year. It's a time when students take concrete steps toward the next place in their life. It's a major step, and we want to make sure that students have all the information they need to make the right decision for themselves. Tonight, I'll serve as moderator, and I'll monitor the Q&A. You'll hear from Sarah Lindberg with the University of Mary Washington, Rebecca Laplante with Radford University, Crystal Jones from Hampton University, and Luisa Burgos from Virginia Tech. And with that, I will hand it over to Sarah Lindberg.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Lindberg. I am the Associate Director for Admissions at the University of Mary Washington. We wanted to start tonight by just giving you guys a quick look at our institutions. We know that many of you may be in different points of the senior, what we would call the senior checklist or the senior admissions process, knowing because our world's been a little bit different with COVID this year. So we're going to kind of go all the way through that process to where hopefully most of you are right now, which is making that final decision. But real quick on the University of Mary Washington is that we are a public liberal arts and sciences university. We are located in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So we are about an hour south of Washington, D.C. and an hour north of Richmond, Virginia, right off of I-95. As a public liberal arts and sciences university, we are a little bit smaller. We have about 4,200 undergraduate students and lots of programs for you to choose from. So if you happen to be one of those students that's still looking for a college, we are still accepting applications for the fall of 2021. And with that, I'll turn it over to Rebecca.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Laplante. I am the Director of Freshman Recruitment at Radford University. I did just realize I'm wearing the same scarf as in my picture, so there you go. Must be one of my favorites. So I definitely love my school. I went to school here at Radford many years ago and decided to come back and work here. So I definitely feel like Radford is a great fit for a lot of students. We are a medium-sized institution. So as Sarah shared, being a liberal arts institution like Mary Washington, we have about 10,000 students that are making up our undergraduate population. So kind of that medium-sized school if you're looking for opportunities, but also still wanting to keep the class sizes a little bit smaller and having that opportunity to work one-on-one with faculty and projects and programs. We're probably most known in Virginia for our nursing programs, our School of Education. We also have a very strong criminal justice program and a new cybersecurity program. So lots of options. And like Sarah mentioned, we are also still accepting applications for the fall of 2021 and still working with families and students as they're finalizing the process. So happy to be here tonight, and I look forward to chatting with you all and answering any questions.
Greetings. I bring you greetings from Hampton University, located in Hampton, Virginia, where our campus is surrounded by water on 3 sides. We sit on approximately 264 acres of land. It's a very picturesque, serene type campus. We have about 4,600 students, and that includes our undergraduate and graduate population. Our student-teacher ratio last year was 12-1. Average class size is about 25. We have over 80 clubs and organizations on campus. Some will be germane to your major, others will be civic-oriented, sororities and fraternities, a gospel choir, concert choir, university choir, marching band, pep band, jazz band, and an orchestra. And we are a part of the Big South Conference and we're Division I with basketball for men and women, tennis for men and women, golf for men and women, track and field and cross country for men and women, softball, volleyball, and bowling for women, and football for men. We have varying majors. So definitely, I am here to answer any questions that you have. If you're still in that process of choosing, we are still accepting applications on our website only. The Common App application has closed, and we do have scholarships that we're still offering as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Luisa Burgos. I serve as the Senior Assistant Director at Virginia Tech. One of my main roles in the office is our diversity program. So if you've ever been part of Fall Visitation, Campus Connection Day, some summer programs, the Black College Institute, Hispanic College Institute, you may have come across some emails from me. Virginia Tech is a big 4-year university located in Blacksburg, Virginia. It is a Research 1, Division 1 school. We have over 100 majors for you to choose from. We have undecided track for all of the colleges if that's something you want to look into. We are no longer accepting applications for the fall of 2021, but we do open them up in the summer for the fall of 2022, as well as some transfer options if you're looking at that as well. We have some partnerships with the community college with the guaranteed admissions, or you can transfer as early as completing 12 credits or more after high school. A little bit more about us. We have lots of clubs to get involved with, over 800 clubs. If you don't find something you like, all you need is 2 other friends and you can make a club. And outside of that, we are surrounded by beautiful New River Valley area. And so if you haven't been there, it's around in Southwest Virginia, lots of land, lots of beautiful trees, and our beautiful downtown, Blacksburg downtown, in case you want to check that out. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and we look forward to our discussion today.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to my panelists for joining us tonight. Myself and Rebecca are going to kind of kick us off with a senior checklist. And the first thing I want to share with everyone is that for most of the items during your senior checklist and most of the answers that you're going to get from the colleges is that it's going to depend on which college you are speaking with. So I really want everybody to get comfortable with the phrase, it depends, and you might not get a hard and fast answer unless you're asking one of the 4 schools that are on this panel tonight. So just know and be comfortable with that phrase, and really don't worry too much. Talk with the admissions counselors at whatever school it is that you are looking at, whether it's one of the 4 of us or any of the many amazing options that are available to you in Virginia. So be prepared to connect and interact as you have questions with your specific school, because as you see, as we go through the slides that we have tonight, everything is going to probably vary just a little bit at each of our institutions. No one does everything exactly the same, which might be a little bit frustrating on your end, but it gives it a little bit harder for us to present always very concise information. So I wanted to start with a little bit of your senior checklist. Knowing that COVID has really turned everybody on their heads, right? We've had a very interesting past 16 months. It's been difficult for most. There's not been a lot of certainty. We know that some of you may not have really started your college search yet. So when we started this senior checklist that we wanted you to take a look, we wanted to start from the very beginning of identifying your schools and what you can be looking for in a different college and where you want to go. There are a lot of great options in Virginia who are still accepting applications for the fall of 2021. It sounds like 3 of the 4 of us are tonight. So go through and take a look at which colleges that you're interested in are still accepting those applications if you have not applied anywhere. That would be one of those first steps. One of the other things that we typically say in the beginning of the year is to work to maintain or improve your grades. That remains true for third and fourth quarters as well. Don't let yourself hit that senior slump and start to relax a little bit in your classes and maybe not turn in some homework assignments, because your offers of admission are typically contingent upon successful completion of all of your enrolled courses. So make sure that you keep doing that. For the SAT or ACT, it's not going to be offered again until the summer. I think June is the next date, and those are probably full because of limited testing with COVID. So I would definitely encourage you to take a look at schools that are allowing a test option at this point, if you have not tested, because there is going to be a little bit more flexibility, because you don't have to wait to a test and see if there's a space available for you to test. And I wouldn't personally want to test during a global pandemic. I know a lot of people feel that same way. So if a school is test choice or test optional, make sure that you're taking a look at them, because they might be able to be a little bit more flexible with you. If you haven't met with your school counselor, even at least virtually this year, no matter where you are in this process, please do that. Make sure they know that you know what your plan is. And they probably have sent you a few emails over the course of the year saying, hey, tell me what your plan is. Let us know what you're thinking of. Making sure that if you need letters of recommendation, that even if you're applying late, you can still get those. So making sure that you're asking with plenty of time. If you have not submitted your FAFSA form yet, please do that. Many of us have priority filing dates for the FAFSA form. Ours is around February 1st. Others, the date varies just slightly. But you can still be reviewed for funds. And even if it's not by that priority date, you may miss out on some different opportunities, but you still can be reviewed. And that is very important in helping the payment piece of attending college. And then make sure that if you are at the process where you've received your acceptances, that you have really gone through and keeping track of which schools you've been accepted to, which ones you haven't heard from, if you've been denied anywhere, any awards of financial aid, make sure that you stay organized with all of that information. And please promptly respond to us in or around by May 1st, if you haven't yet. That would be one of the other things that I would add on here. For my panelists, what other things would you mention on that senior checklist before we get to those next steps?
I would just emphasize that, a lot of dual enrollment are also, for you to transfer the credits. You do have to end well with your senior year, so keep that in mind. For dual enrollment classes, you still need a C, for the most part, C or better to get some type of credit at any of our institutions.
And as you mentioned last week, Sarah, definitely continue to check your email because we're sending lots of information to your email, and those are things that you need to respond to.
Yeah, and I think just adding on to my panelist colleagues, even if the decision is that you're not going to an institution, those are things that you can go ahead and share with the other schools that you've applied to as well. Just because, if they're checking in with you or definitely trying to see if they can help you with anything else, it could be advantageous to let them know that you have already decided on a school, if that's something that would be helpful to you to not continue to get those messages and conversations from the schools that you're looking at. And then the other thing I would just add is echo that school counselor relationship. I mean, just knowing that if you did have any struggles this past year, Louisa commented on, finishing out the year strongly and making sure that you're doing well at the end. If there have been any hiccups or challenges, making sure your counselor is aware, because that's one of the individuals that we would likely on the college side reach out to if we needed further context or to understand what's been going on. So clearly, like Sarah said, there's a lot going on. We know that, but again, just providing that additional context can be really helpful if an admission committee needs more information. So definitely just kind of want to remind you to keep those great resources handy and make sure your school counselor is aware of what's going on throughout the process.
And I will say too, to piggyback on what Rebecca had said about once you've selected your school, or even if you're still narrowing down your choices, if you got offered admission at 15 different schools and you've narrowed it down to 5, let the other 10 know. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, you are potentially freeing up a space in the class for somebody that's been placed on the wait list, right? So you want to give other students an opportunity to potentially get a space at that institution. And 2, it also helps release sometimes scholarship and grant funding to other students as well. So that's also really important. And you may be sitting there being like, oh, I don't want to have that conversation. It's hard to quote unquote break up with a school. We get broken up with all the time, right? Like that is something that we're fairly used to, being in the business of it and working in college admissions. It's something that happens every year. If you've built a really good relationship with your admissions counselor, sometimes it hurts just a little bit more. But truly, at the end of the day, all of us want what's best for you, whether that's our institution or another institution. And we're just happy to see that you making that decision and finding that right fit. So don't be afraid to tell a school, I'm no longer interested in you. It actually helps us so that we can gear our focus and pay attention and our attentions to another student that is still considering our colleges and universities.
Can I know I'm not a panelist. I'm just going to add one quick thing. Sarah mentioned filling out the FAFSA if you haven't already. And if you're intimidated by that process, or if you're looking for help and don't know where to turn, through June 30th, you can go to the website I put in the chat. It's www.virginiacan.org/FAFSA. And there's a calendar on that website, and there are just hundreds and hundreds of slots open. You can sign up for a 1 hour, one-on-one virtual sort of workshop with a college access provider. So please don't hesitate to go to that website to get that assistance.
Hey, Erin, it might be just me, but I don't see a website in the chat. I just wanted to let you know.
We'll let them figure out the website in the chat. Coming soon if you don't see it there. But I'll let Crystal go ahead and talk a little bit more about next steps. And if you've selected your school, what should you be doing now?
So in terms of your next steps, there are many schools that will then require a deposit or advance payment, and that lets us know that you're deciding that you're going to come to our school. That secures your space in that particular class. So you definitely want to pay attention to the deadline in which to submit that information. You want to set up your university college email. Many of us will send you information in reference to how to set up that email address. And because many, after you paid your advance payment or deposit, you will then continue to get correspondences from that school in reference to your next steps and what you need to do, registering for classes, history and physical information, et cetera, et cetera. So it's important that you set up that college email address. Complete your housing application. It's very important if you're planning to stay on campus that you complete that housing application so that you can definitely have a room that's all ready for you to come to in the fall. And then definitely we want you to send your final high school transcript because of course we need to know that you've graduated from high school and that information has to be on file. You want to pay attention to correspondences that you'll be receiving from the colleges and universities in reference to registering for the fall classes. Some will have early registration. And in fact, we have that going on right now. And so it's important if you get information in reference to registering that you read all of that information because I'm sure it tells you everything you need to do in order to register for your classes early. And then many of us will have orientations. Some have orientations in the summer. We happen to have ours at one time in August. And so when you come to us in August, you'll have orientation and you have the opportunity then to stay with us. You want to send your health forms, including your immunization records. Pay special attention to that this year because some of us are adding COVID type information with those health forms, and some are requiring the vaccination. And so that information needs to be on file before you can become a student or commune with the individuals on our campuses. So definitely keep all of that in mind. Does others have something to add?
Yeah, I would just add in that when it's very easy for you all to just say, okay, I'm still a high school student. I'm not graduating till June. Let me focus on school and then start this process and all of these next steps in June, which isn't terrible. But at the same time, if you've already committed to a college or university, I can speak for mine specifically, we've been allowing you to take some of these next steps, like submitting a questionnaire to help with your first semester of classes, getting your housing assignment, at least the building, since February. So for us, if you wait till June, even though you paid your deposit maybe in April, the options in June are fewer. There's still options, but they're fewer than what you would have had access to if you started to pay attention to those emails when we started sending them to you in April, if you've already committed to the university. So I know it's very easy to just kind of push it aside and say, okay, I'll focus on that when I'm done with this. But you need to make sure that you're carving out time to work on your next steps for college, because a lot of us allow students to take steps early instead of waiting. And if you do things early, you're going to have more options.
Yeah, and I was just going to add, there could be some special programs, whether it's like an honors college or a research option or something that the institution has offered you, that the opportunities to kind of get that process started is going to also be advantageous to you. So definitely, Sarah already said in the beginning, you know, a lot of things, it depends. Every school is going to do things a little different, but similarly, I think all of us have probably been allowing you, once you've confirmed your enrollment, to go ahead and take care of these great next steps. But in addition to that, you may be given an opportunity to choose a learning community in a housing experience, or be a part of an honors college or another special program, where going ahead and taking care of some of those next steps just gets you even that more ready and opportunity to get excited and start checking off more things on your to-do list as well. So definitely kind of the early bird gets the worm situation. If you are able to start taking care of these, even just a few steps, you'll feel so much better about it once you get to that time of orientation, because you've already been able to knock some things off your list too.
I would just add a little advice. Sometimes when you're setting up your username, that also is what your email would be. So don't get tricked by that. I know I've seen some funny emails from students, which is fine, but like don't use like bunny25, right? Because it will be your email that you communicate with your professors and things like that, a lot of internships. So just keep that in mind when you're setting up your username. Sometimes that also means your ID, aka your email, your student email. I know I didn't know. Luckily, I chose something appropriate, but just as a little tip. And then some of us also offer summer opportunities for you to move in earlier. So I would just keep an eye out for that too, in case you are interested. I know we have a program that is like about, you take 6 credits or so. It's kind of to help students that want to take advantage, transition in a little bit earlier and move in about a month or so earlier. So keep an eye out. I know most of us will communicate via email if we have any of these type of programs. So that would be that's it. Sarah, you're muted. I don't know if you're.
Of course, it's gonna happen. And I was just gonna say, I'm turning it over to you, Louisa, to talk about deferments and gap years and change of entry term and all of those phrases that sometimes float around and students don't necessarily know what they mean and how to do them if they want to do them.
Yes. So that's why the reason I put all these words, change in entry term or deferment, you may find them in different words in the website for the school you're planning to attend. So if this means, all it means is that if for some reason you want to push back the day you begin school with that specific institution. Now, some will allow you to postpone a semester or a year. I know we used to have 2 years, so it depends on the case by case basis. I would say definitely this is something that will depend by the institution, how they handle this. Some have links, others have an email that you send an email request to. Depending on the request, we may ask for evidence. I know some people have done like mission trips and stuff like that. So we've requested documents to prove that. And depending on that, we've been able to approve deferment or change in entry term. Some schools will vary and they'll say you have to pay your deposit, kind of guaranteeing your seat the next year. Others may not do that, right? So just keep that in mind, as well as if you end up taking classes, make sure that you check with the institution before you do any of that, because that could change also the type of student you may be entering as, like versus first year student, maybe transfer student, which could change a lot in the academics and even the way you are set up for orientation and just a lot of different things. So just keep that in mind. If you do want to take classes, make sure you reach out to a specific institution you plan to do that. Usually, if you deferred, you do not need to submit a whole new application, so your spot is saved. Like usually with the deposit, that's kind of how you have your guarantee to have your spot. Now, yes, your offer will, depending on the school, stand for a semester or a year. Now, if you pass that time, that is maybe potentially where you could lose the offer and you may have to reapply if you go beyond what you've been approved to change of your entry term. Any others want to add anything? All
I
right.
think that one's pretty straightforward. I was going to say you covered it well.
Yes, you did. And basically, it depends, and talk to the school that you want to defer with. Awesome. Our presentation portion is short because we really wanted to get to questions that are have really been weighing on your mind, and if we can help provide any of our expertise with our years of admissions experience and really help you get to the root and some answers. So we want to head that way. Erin, I know you said that there were some pre-asked questions. Is that right?
Yes, we've got some questions that folks asked as they were registering for this webinar. I see there in the chat, there is a question about sort of who this webinar is for, right? Whether it's for all seniors or just seniors who are still in the decision-making process. And I think the answer is all of the above, right? You guys were you're casting a wide net just to make sure you're addressing everyone's questions, correct?
Yes, we can answer questions from start to where you are right now to finish. So we wanted to make sure we were casting wide net, just knowing that this year has been atypical for a lot of seniors in their college search process and application process.
Right. And actually that question was asked by someone that I know. Hi, Safai. Okay. All right. So, and feel free to continue to post questions in the Q&A, but I will grab some from
Erin,
Yes, Tierney.
we have one from Brandon
Oh, I didn't see
in
that.
the chat. I know it's so many, but okay, so I'll read this one. Brandon asked for Virginia Tech, when can we expect to hear about dorm and roommate assignments?
So as soon as you accept your offer, then you'll have access when you create your student ID and all that to the housing application. Now, for that, if you already have someone in mind, you are able to request to room, but the other person has also to probably kind of match your timeline for that to happen. Most likely, if you do it earlier and the person that does it very late, it may not happen. So I would say if you are looking to request a roommate, that's kind of how you'll do it. But if you're looking to, be a random student, you will hear back from them closer to right before orientation, which is usually in June, July.
All right. Thank you, Louisa. Here's a question that was posed. Will schools require students to get vaccinated? I think that's an it depends kind of thing, but how about for our panelists? What's going on your campuses?
I'll go ahead and jump in. The it depends is absolutely accurate. We've started to hear of some schools in the DC area or in Washington, DC that are going to be requiring vaccines. For the University of Mary Washington, they are strongly encouraged. They are not currently required, but all of our students have been able to now be fast-tracked with Mary Washington Healthcare right by our campus. So if they're on campus right now, they can get an appointment within 24 to 48 hours to get vaccinated. So we're encouraging it, but at this point in time, we are not requiring it. And as a state school, we will continue to follow the guidelines from the governor and the VDH.
And here at Hampton University, we are requiring that students have a vaccination.
I was going to say very similar to Mary Washington's description is the same for Radford, that we will be encouraging, and our students have had access more recently with the New River Valley Health clinics that have been expanded actually to Radford and Virginia Tech students, since we're in the same neck of the woods here in this part of the state. And yeah, for us, similarly, not required at this time.
Yeah, we're the same right now. Not require, encouraged for sure. I try to respond to a question in the chat. It didn't let me send, I don't know why, but just quickly, if it does not have air conditioning, most likely will not have AC in the residence hall. We do have some dorms that do not have AC.
That's an important question. That's
Yeah, was that a specific tech question, or was that a general college question?
It was a specific tech question, but I'm sure You all can jump into that too.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure because that's different for us. We have AC for all of our buildings now.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's
Yeah.
an up. University of Mary Washington. No, I'm just kidding. But you could probably go to what the housing web pages and kind of take a look at what each. Okay, because I'm pretty sure that's probably listed. AC, air conditioning, no, cable, internet connection, all that stuff. So I browse the
Cable's
website.
pretty standard, right? Can I assume that with my other schools here, cable's pretty standard? Yeah.
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 Okay.
Cable.
AC that really gets you.
These students are streaming.
Oh, you're right. Oh, shoot. That's a good question too. That's good.
You know what? And this is tough because I don't see the AC question in the chat. So I'm not the right person apparently to be looking at the chat. But as long as somebody sees it.
It's in the Q&A. So I see it. And I have another question in the Q&A from Sarah. She's asking, could Sarah Lindberg and Rebecca, I can't say your last name. Is it Laplante? I probably said it wrong. Rebecca, talk about what they think makes them stand out from other schools in the state, not just the ones represented today.
Oh, Rebecca, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'm happy to do whatever you would like, Sarah.
You go first, Rebecca.
Okay. And then you can find something I didn't say so that you can talk about it. We're all friends here, by the way.
Yes, we are. We're good friends. This is not.
That's the funny part about this. None of us are competing with one another because we knew our schools are all a little different. So that's the cool part about the variety of options in the state, as we've talked about. And clearly, students, you may be looking at schools outside of the state as well. But there's so many awesome choices right here in the Commonwealth. So we want to make sure we focus on those today. But for Radford, I would say that some of the things that I think help us stand out or maybe set us apart a little bit is going to be partly that size. So I mentioned in the very beginning, we are the school that's around 10,000, and that's pretty unique in the state of Virginia. For us, we think that that really does give us the opportunity, this is going to sound a little cheesy, but to give you the best of both worlds. And all of my colleagues can say the same at their institutions. They're all wonderful schools, and it really goes back to what you're looking for. But at the end of the day, I think for us, our community and our opportunities for students to really get to be a big fish in a small pond is something that I know a lot of our students appreciate, and a lot of our student leaders talk about the fact that when they came to Radford, they weren't necessarily the president of an organization, or they weren't necessarily the student that thought that they would be leading a research opportunity, but when they got here, they felt supported and encouraged and challenged, and that's kind of what made them. So I think our faculty and student relationships are pretty awesome, but we, like Louisa, being in this part of Virginia, also have such great access to recreation and opportunities to really be outdoors and really focus on that. So those are some things I would say. We're also really fortunate that we've had a lot of new buildings and new facilities on our campus in the last 8 to 10 years. So there's a lot of really cool amenities that come along with our campus as well. Sarah?
Yes. So we too also think our size makes us a little bit special because we are a public university that is small. I sometimes say schmedium, but it's really, we're a smaller institution with 4,200 students. You definitely get more of a private school feel at Mary Washington. Sometimes so much that people think we are private. We are not. We are public. So we do have more of that private school feel. With the university, we have no teaching assistants or TAs in the classroom. So all of our courses are taught by our faculty who truly are at Mary Washington because they want to be in the classroom. They want to teach. They want to have those discussions and research with students. And we may not be an R1 research institution, but we are still researching. Our faculty are researching with students. You can earn independent research grants as well. I read a article that we had featured the other day. In the last 17 years, we've had 25 different Fulbright scholars, and the Fulbright scholar process with Mary Washington is a very personalized one where you truly get to know the Fulbright committee that's working with you and nominating you for that opportunity for that postgraduate work and postgraduate research in a lot of different ways. So we really have that personalized approach to a lot of things. Our location makes us pretty unique too. I mean, being 50 miles south of DC and 50 miles north of Richmond, yes, you're in a nice suburban park-like campus that's beautiful. You can't drive through it. But at the same time, you have access to those two major metropolitan cities for internship experiences or cultural experiences too, right? You want to go have fun with your friends, go to a museum or an event in Washington, D.C. on the weekend, you can take the train and go and do that. So that's something that also kind of really sets us apart a little bit, but the relationships are definitely number one for our students, faculty, and staff in the tight-knit community that you'll find at Mary Washington.
I'm sold. Erin, I just want to see, do you want to try to unmute an attendee to ask a question?
Sure. If
I mean, I can do that this time. If you,
let's see here.
Teresa looks like.
Teresa.
So give her a heads up first.
Yeah, Teresa, I'm going to try to unmute you, and if you don't want to ask your question, you don't have to, and I could just read it hopefully from the Q&A. But let's see. I'm hitting on the mic, Tierney, and I'm not seeing that it's unmuting.
All right, I just unmuted Teresa. So
Can you hear me?
Teresa, yes, we can hear you. Go ahead with your question.
I was recently talking with a friend of mine that had a freshman last year, and she was telling me about how Clemson had some sort of portal that they put a bunch of information in, the incoming freshmen who were looking for random roommates. You know, like, I like football, I like, you know, painting, I like guitars, you know, I'm not a morning person, whatever it is. And then that portal was accessible to the freshmen so they could help pick out, you know, people who, you know, drink coffee or don't drink coffee, and they had similar interests. So it wasn't totally random, but somewhat related, similar interest kind of folks. And I was wondering if Virginia Tech did that. My son has been offered and accepted to Virginia Tech, and I was just wondering if that was an option, or will it really totally be a rando?
So we do something similar. It will be, we do a questionnaire in the housing application when we try to get into those bigger questions. Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Are you, you know, are you into like sports? Are you not? Are you know, all that stuff? And we ask questions. We don't have a portal necessarily, I would say, where students can find each other, but we do have the questionnaire where we try to match people based on that. Now, I always tell students, I know I definitely did not tell the whole truth in my freshman application, but trust me, this is one thing that you do want to probably give 100% truth, just because maybe you're not the cleanest person, right? And maybe you're a little bit messy, you know, here and there. Like, go ahead, like put that there, just because, you know, you do want to find someone that will be a good match. Now, outside of Virginia Tech, there's usually a Facebook group that we don't not manage, so Virginia Tech's not liable for that Facebook group, but there's usually Facebook groups out there for students that say class of 2025 and all of that, and students can join those groups on their own. We do not send the link to that. Usually they're created by another student or something like that, and I would recommend looking at that. There's usually groups for that for all kinds of, and all the incoming classes usually, and students tend to post things about themselves and find each other through that. Now, I think this generation does not use Facebook, so I know that's maybe a little trickier, but a lot of student organizations on, I would say, a lot of campuses use Facebook to communicate with groups and things like that. So I have heard, at least for incoming first year students last year, that they still had to create a Facebook just for their organizations and things like that. So not, you know, promoting that, but just in case there are options like that sometimes that outside of Virginia Tech where students find each other.
Thanks for that question. I like that. I like that concept of matchmaking a little bit, right? I'll pull another question that was pre-submitted. Let's see here. Once we get on campus, how do we get involved or meet people?
It's going to be so easy. Crystal, you go ahead. I saw you about to talk.
Well, for us here at Hampton, what happens is definitely during orientation, we have what we call a Big Brother, Big Sister program, and those individuals will match up with you and they will offer you the opportunity to meet some of their friends, and you'll meet friends in your classrooms. Then we'll also have what we call a organizational fair, and that will give you an opportunity to meet students and find out more about the university and the different organizations that they have on campus, and the ones that you may decide that you want to join so that you can grow and strengthen your skills in terms of matriculating on a college campus. So those are just a few of the things that you can do in order to get to know some people.
Yeah, the concept of that lovely kind of club fair situation. I know we all have versions of that. And we do try to make sure that you as incoming students feel, very welcomed to kind of just walk around and figure out, like, is this something I want to do? I hadn't tried this yet in high school. Do I want to try this in college? Is this something that's up my alley? So it's an opportunity to sort of reinvent yourself if you want to, and give yourself an opportunity to try something new. That's one thing that I would mention. And then I know a lot of us have those intro classes. We have a University 100 class, and those peer instructors, upper class students with your faculty or staff are going to really help you also figure out and remind you and let you know about all the resources and all the different ways that you can not only get support as a student transitioning into college, but also making sure you know about all the ways that you can get involved and be a contributing member of the community. So lots of ways that you'll be able to really figure out what your niche is going to be, and how you want to be an active member within your college campus. So definitely it will be very easy, and you will have lots of opportunities, and definitely not something to worry about at all.
Try something new. Like you have so many more opportunities at college for clubs and organizations. Try something new. Try something completely out of bounds, something that you've never done before. We have a club Quidditch team. Join the club Quidditch team. We also have my favorite club on campus is called Step UMW. It's a organization that actually trains service dogs through Canine Companions for Independence program. Train a service dog. Do something different. Do something fun. Go outside your box. Meet new people. If you don't like it, no harm. Just don't go to the next meeting. Right? Like, do something new. This is your opportunity to do that.
And I also just want to add that many times I'll tell students that when you go to whatever college or university that you decide to matriculate, that if you just go to class, go eat, and go back to your residence hall, go to class, go back to your residence hall, or go to eat, I promise you'll probably hate that institution. So it's important that you get involved in the milieu of your campus, meet new people, and as my colleagues have mentioned, try new things, because otherwise you probably will not like it.
There are wise words here. We've got a question in the Q&A.
And then Erin, sorry for the background noise, that's my 2-year-old. But we also have 2 people who have kind of raised their hand, and so you let me know when you're ready for me to unmute them.
Okay. Is it Sarah?
Well, no. Well, Sarah is there. I don't know if she's still there from before, though. So, Sarah, if you have a new question, let us know and we can unmute you. So tell us in the chat you have a new question. It's Catherine and Shanika.
Okay. Why don't we go with we'll try Catherine first, then Shanika.
Okay. We're going to unmute you all one at a time. So, Catherine. Catherine, you're unmuted now. Can't hear.
It's all right. I can read the question. Does Virginia Tech have preferred financial institutions for student loans?
It's
Louisa?
actually, so
Yeah.
in Virginia Tech, admissions does not handle scholarships and financial aid. So I will say this is out of my expertise. The best contact for that would be the Office of Financial Aid, which I'll put in the chat. It's finaid@vt.edu. I was trying to, while we were putting this, to look up in the chat or on their website, because I do know that they have a list of loans that they would suggest that you take, or Parent Plus loans and all that good all stuff about financial aid. So definitely reach out to them for that. But I will try to, while we're here, also look up that list if I can find it. But I would say that is out of my expertise.
All right, and then Sarah said she does have a question. So I'm going to unmute her, and then Shanika will go to you after Sarah. Sarah, you're unmuted now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I have two questions. So could you guys talk a little bit about double majoring as well as any ROTC programs that are available?
I can jump in first if I didn't see anybody else on mute. We allow students to double major, minor. We make it pretty easy for you with our liberal arts curriculum. You actually have about a third of your credits dedicated to electives. And so if you wanted to double major, it would just kind of eat into that electives bucket or piece of the pie, so to speak. So yes, double majoring is absolutely an option. Mary Washington does not have our own specific ROTC program, but we have a program in collaboration with George Mason University. It's Army ROTC. So you would actually have to take your military science courses and things up at George Mason, which is about a 45-minute to an hour drive from our campus. So there is a little bit of back and forth with that.
I'll jump in next. So we do, I'll start with the second question. We do have Army ROTC here at Radford. So that is definitely an option where you would be able to be commissioned at the end of the 4 years and work through that program. Scholarships are offered as well. So that is something that we could offer. And as far as double majoring and thinking about those programs, we actually are just introducing a new undergraduate curriculum program that's called REAL. And there is lots of fun little things that go along with the acronym, but the gist of it is basically that it's going to be even more easy to double major, add multiple minors, with really trying to help students figure out which areas that they want to complement one another. So similar to the way that Sarah also described Mary Washington, we're going to have the opportunities within that liberal arts experience to really add on to what's required of your major and still be able to really play around with how you want to make everything come together for your degree. So again, we're really excited about it. There's a lot of new opportunities, and we have also kind of gone with more of a centralized advising process with our academic success center on campus that will support you and help you with that double majoring and all of the different things you want to put together. So great questions though, good questions.
Does any other panelists want to address double majors or ROTC?
I can jump in. Virginia Tech also has the core cadets, so we do have ROTC if that is something. We have 2 tracks, so you can do the full-time ROTC, or you can also do the civilian, which is, I believe you're still enlisted, but you're kind of minoring in leadership. So if that is something you're interested in, that is an option. And then similar to a lot of the schools, a lot of our students will double major, multiple minors. A lot of it will depend on how you work with your academic advisor. And if it's in the same college, it's signing papers. But if you're going outside of your college, of your home, first major, it may go through an application process, depending on the major. So, but definitely lots of students do it as well. I did see a quick question about VCU and roommates. I don't know why the chat is not letting me answer on the chat, but I quickly checked out their website. If you look at housing, vcu.edu, they do have a nice description of how you can select roommates. But similarly, I guess it was about Virginia. Oh no, that was another question. But you can look at that. It looks like you are able to select roommates as well, similar to a lot of our schools here. But I can't put for some reason in the chat, the website, but it is in their site at housing.vcu.edu.
And here at Hampton, we do offer the opportunity for students to major and minor. And we have Army, Navy, and Marine ROTC programs here at the university.
Great. I think, yeah, I think with this platform, you have to highlight the question in order to answer the question. I don't know, Shanika, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that question? Should we unmute you? All right, I guess no news is good news there. Okay. I think I see in the Q&A that Sarah has another question. Tierney, can you unmute Sarah again, please?
Sure. Sarah, you're unmuted.
Okay, I have a kind of a specific question about the ROTC at Radford. How would you go about applying for that? Like, do you do that like along with applications, or is that something separate that you do like when you get there?
You can, so both, either. So you can do it at the time that you're applying. There's an opportunity to let us know so that the RTC office can connect with you. But you can do it now, and you actually have time at any point prior to coming, and you even have the opportunity to join after you have arrived as well. So there's different variations of the commitment and the opportunities within scholarships, but absolutely there's still time, and we can still work with you on that for sure, Sarah.
And Teresa has another question. Tierney, would you unmute Teresa, please?
Teresa.
Yes, sorry. I'm really glad there's a Virginia Tech person on here. My son is very concerned that the minor in naval engineering and a major in electrical engineering would kill him. And I was just wondering if you had an opinion on that.
I would strongly suggest that he connects with another engineering corps cadet students. I know that they will be happy to have him chat with someone that is also in the corps and an engineering major. I personally have met students that are engineering majors. I've also heard that the first year is really kind of the more strict and tough one. And the first year, all engineering students tend to have very similar schedules. They all start off as general engineering. So the upper level classes will really come in a little bit later, I would say starting sophomore, junior year. There are plenty of students that are core as well as engineering majors. Now different, engineerings, they will declare different engineerings later on. But just I would definitely encourage him to chat to another student that went through it and already maybe even almost graduating, so they can give some advice. But it is doable.
Okay, it is 6:58. So this is last chance here for your questions. And if there aren't any more now, you can join us again. We'll be here with another panel of experts on Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Make sure to check out the flyer for the link to that. We can actually also post it in the chat if you want to come back and spend more time with us. But if there aren't any more questions, I really want to thank everyone for spending time with us tonight.
Erin,
Yeah.
sorry, who do we have on Thursday? That might get some people to come back. I know ODU, so Old Dominion University, Norfolk State University. I see Hampton, Sydney, I think, and there was one more.
It's
Christopher Newport University.
Yeah, Newport.
And so if you have questions for them, you can come back, tell your friends to come on Thursday, and we'll provide the link in the chat, like Erin said.
Exactly. But if there aren't any more questions, thank you so much to Sarah Lindberg, Rebecca Laplante, Crystal Jones, and Luisa Burgos for spending time and fielding these questions, like just a wealth of knowledge and years of experience. And you got some really good information tonight. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. And in the chat right now, we're going to put the link to next Thursday's webinar. So if you need that link, hold on with us just for another minute.
I put it in there. I think the chat is delayed, but I'll put it in there again too. It looks like Brandon said thank you. You're welcome, Brandon. And good luck.
I'm gonna blame the delay for my technical difficulties. Let's see.
Oh, I can read it aloud too. It's tinyurl.com/to-get-ready.
Hey,
Yeah.
it came up in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, something with the chat tonight. So,
That's
and
right.
Vex in general, I think. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks everyone so much. Really appreciate it. Have a
And
good one.
I'll make sure to send you a recording of this. So.
Thank you, Ted.